Okay, so the museum has been working to obtain a home for several years, but we believe the time is right for it to happen now. Federal funding is available, as identified by what was recently provided to another one of our partners, the Royal Aviation Museum of Western Canada. And I can't say enough about them. They've been very generous with sharing information for us to help us move forward. And sometimes when I've been up at 4 and 5 in the morning thinking I'm doing a really good job, their CEO is already up in Winnipeg and answering my emails, so I figure I'm a bit of a slacker. I'm going to read a couple of quotes that were used with regards to funding that they received through the federal government. Cultural institutions play a key role in developing dynamic communities that celebrate Canada's diverse heritage and ingenuity. The Royal Aviation Museum of Western Canada's new facility will provide a gathering place for the community and will help to attract more visitors every year. Our government is proud to be investing in projects that preserve culture, spark curiosity, and bring people together while contributing to economic growth and community development. That was from the Honourable Jim Carr on behalf of the Minister of Infrastructure and Communities in 2019. The Minister of Canadian Heritage and Multiculturalism at the time said the Royal Aviation Museum of Western Canada celebrates a unique part of this country's history, and our government is proud to support this project. Through the Canada Cultural Spaces Fund, we are making important investments in our country's cultural infrastructure and supporting the growth of our creative economy. Now that came with a funding announcement of $8.8 million that was added to $1.2 million that they had received in 2016, when the Minister of Canadian Heritage at that time said the Government of Canada is committed to making significant new investments in cultural infrastructure because we understand how essential these facilities are for our country's arts and heritage organizations. By supporting the construction of the museum, we are helping to ensure Canadians have access to a unique facet of Canada's aviation story. Now, I'm not going to argue that they have an important story to tell, but what I would say is New Brunswick has just as important a story to tell, and that hasn't been told yet. Now, provincial funding is also available if we can show we have enough support. We currently have an application for funding into Minister Crossman through the Regional Development Corporation to help get our feasibility study and our initial design plans done. And we can use all the support we can get to ensure this funding is provided as quickly as possible, because we have a grand opening target date of April 1st, 2024. And for some people here, they know what that date means. It's the 100th anniversary of the forming of the Royal Canadian Air Force. So we have a real short timeline to do this, but we think it can be done. Now, as was already mentioned, we think that this project can help put people to work as part of pandemic recovery, the design work, surveying, construction, landscaping, developing monuments, etc. And we are committed to making sure it's New Brunswick companies and employees that get as much of this work as possible. Now, the actual museum part of the project is going to focus on honoring our past. And as you can see by the blue panels over there, with all the pictures and the names, we are going to recognize New Brunswick's aviation heroes, including Thomas Wilby and David Brown, both recipients of the Distinguished Flying Cross from right here in Fredericton during the Second World War, as well as Lord Beaverbrook, who was the Minister of Aircraft Production in England, was instrumental in producing enough fighter aircraft for them to win the Battle of Britain. It is time that the service and sacrifice of New Brunswick airmen and women, aviation pioneers and aerospace industry leaders are remembered and celebrated. In addition, the museum will feature a large number of aircraft with ties to New Brunswick and to Canada's #1 Air Division, and an aviation heritage park. The park will have several monuments, one dedicated to New Brunswick airmen and women who lost their lives during the wars, one for those who died in training here in New Brunswick, and another for all the men, women, and children who died in the Air Division in Europe between 1951 and 1993. And for those who don't know, more children died overseas than actual service members did. Though it was technically peacetime, the bodies of those who died were never repatriated. So we want to provide a place in Canada for families to remember and honor their loved ones who were lost during the Cold War. We will also be creating an education center, as was mentioned, and that part is to inspire our future, the youth of New Brunswick. It is going to be named the Golden Hawk Aerospace Academy in honor of the team that formed in Chatham in 1959. We will strive to live up to the standards of excellence that they were known for. As part of those efforts, we have established partnerships with the Air Cadet League of New Brunswick, Mount Allison University, the Atlantic Canada Aerospace and Defence Association, the Air Transport Association of Canada, Forest Protection Limited, the Canada Aviation and Space Museum, the Atlantic Canada International Air Show, the Royal Canadian Air Force Association, Resurgo Place, the St. John Jewish Historical Museum, and TIA&B. And we're just getting started. We're also working on partnerships with the New Brunswick Community College, the University of New Brunswick, First Nations Education Initiative Incorporated, the Black Aviation Professionals Network, and many other organizations. As was mentioned, there is expected to be a significant shortage of skilled workers in the aviation and aerospace sectors in the near future. I won't get into numbers since Stephen stole my thunder on that one. Meanwhile, in addition to what's there in the private sector, the Air Force is facing its own issues with recruitment and retention, especially for pilots, which is why we are seeing headlines about turning to foreign pilots and asking retired members to rejoin in order to fill their ranks. We believe the Museum and Aerospace Academy can play a significant role in helping address these shortages. By providing children with heroes to look up to, many of them from right here in New Brunswick, and developing programs that fill them with awe and wonder, we can create the spark that gets them excited about flying and about STEM in general. Within the current ranks of our honorary patrons are former astronaut Dr. Roberta Bondor, the Managing Director of Boeing Canada, Charles Sullivan, a former F-35 test pilot, Billy Flynn, who just happens to be the ex-husband of our former Governor General, and numerous members of Canada's aerobatic teams, the Golden Centenaires, the Golden Hawks, and the Snowbirds. Our partnerships with industry will also give us access to a significant pool of mentors and instructors who can help ensure that we meet the different training needs of today's diverse youth. We will be looking to run bilingual programs from preschool through to grade 12 and offer hands-on learning opportunities for students in college and university. Some of these children will likely go on to join the Air Cadets, helping out one of our partners in the near term, while many others may go on to college, university, flying schools, or the Air Force to pursue their dreams. These young men and women may then go to work for our partners at Forest Protection Limited, members of the Atlantic Canada Aerospace and Defence Association or the Air Transport Association of Canada, or any number of places where their in-demand skills will be needed. We have a growing collection of artifacts that will soon include the Newport 11 aircraft here today, although we have significant shortfalls related to New Brunswick aviators. Thanks to the generous support of the Miramichi Airport Commission, we now have land to build on, and we do have a temporary home for our hangar that will become, as I said, the temporary home of the museum until our new facility is built. Although physically located in Miramichi, the Museum and Aerospace Education Centre will be a resource for everyone in the province and for all of Atlantic Canada. We will in fact have the best aviation museum east of Ottawa. We need your support to make this happen though, and there are many ways to help. You can become a patron, a friend, or a member, purchase gift shop items or a memorial stone, or just make it a regular donation. And of course, spread the news. People need to know that we exist in order for us to grow and succeed. Now, just one last point on that. We are currently involved in the Great Canadian Giving Challenge through the Canada Helps website. And after the challenge ends on June 30th, we'll be having a draw. And the first prize is a free 2-night stay at the beautiful Algonquin Resort and 2 free tickets to the Oppenheimer-Prager Museum at Dayspring in St. Andrews. The lucky winner may even get a personal guided tour of the museum by the current owner, Mr. Vincent Prager, who would regale the guests with stories of his family who owned the artwork that is on display there at the museum. Now, just to report, with that $2,500 that we just received from Forest Protection, it's taken us over $10,000 that we've received so far in June. So again, we are hoping to get at least $25,000. I know there is more coming. Retired Chief of Defence Staff General Paul Manton, who has been a great supporter of ours. He had been a one-time base commander in Chatham. He told me at first he was going to give us a decent donation. I was thinking indecent is all right, I don't mind. But the last time he talked to me, he said it was going to be a substantial donation. Again, I've got my idea of what that means, but I'm waiting to see what actually shows up. So in any case, we are hoping that we will reach our $25,000 for this month. And as General Cuppins had mentioned, we are working to get a Sabre back home to Chatham. We were the Canadian home of the Sabre aircraft. All the pilots, the majority of the pilots trained in Chatham before they went overseas to provide Canada's support to the Cold War, to NATO efforts at the beginning of the Cold War. So we need to bring that aircraft home. Anyway, that's all I have. Thank you very much for coming. Your Honors, I didn't acknowledge you when you first got here, but thank you very much for coming. I would like to point out that the Lieutenant Governor is our official honorary patron of the New Brunswick Aviation Museum, not of the campaign. So thank you all for coming.